The person who checks you in is trained to do three things: smile, nod, and tell you absolutely nothing. We are professionally polite, which is just a nicer way of saying we are professionally silent. But make no mistake, behind that desk, we know things about you. About all of you. We know who you really are the moment the elevator doors slide shut and you think the performance is over. We know it from your voice, your posture, the way you say the word, actually. We have checked in tens of thousands of guests, and you are not nearly as unreadable as you believe. We just never say so. Tonight, for once, we will. Consider this the conversation the front desk is never allowed to have with you. The truth behind the smile. Some of it is funny. Some of it will make you think differently about your last hotel stay. And a little of it, frankly, we are not supposed to be telling you at all. These are the confessions that hotel staff will never share at check-in. Real things we see, know, and quietly decide about every single guest who walks through that door. We will start gentle. Then we will get to the things we usually keep to ourselves. 1. We know exactly what kind of guest you are within the first 10 seconds. Long before you have finished your sentence. It isn't magic, it's pattern. After enough check-ins, a guest stops being a stranger and becomes a type, and the tells are almost insultingly reliable. The guest who makes eye contact, says hello, and asks how our day is going. That person will be no trouble all week, and we relax the instant they approach. The guest who opens with their loyalty number instead of a greeting, or who is already, somehow, unhappy about a room they have not yet seen, we brace. We have a quiet phrase for it among ourselves. We say a guest arrives loud. And the ones who arrive loud almost never get quieter. There was a man who began our entire interaction with the words, "I'm going to be honest with you," which, in hotels, is the universal signal that someone is about to be the opposite. He complained about the temperature of the lobby before he had a room key in his hand. We knew, in that moment, exactly how his week was going to go, and we were right every single day of it. So here is the uncomfortable part. By the time you have finished your first sentence at the desk, we have already decided how this is going to go. The smile we give you is always the same. What happens behind it is not. 2. You probably believe your room was assigned at random, or by whatever the computer happened to spit out. It wasn't. Where you sleep is a verdict. We have enormous, quiet discretion over which room a guest receives, and we use it constantly. The kind, easy, gracious guests, the ones who arrive quiet, get the high floors, the better views, the rooms far from the elevator's all-night rumble, and the clatter of the kitchen below. And every so often, with no announcement at all, they get moved into a suite they never asked for and will never know they were chosen for. That lucky upgrade you got once? Luck had nothing to do with it. You earned it at the desk, by being someone we wanted to reward. The reverse is also true, and we are far less proud of it. The guest who is rude before they have even checked in has a curious way of ending up in the room beside the ice machine, or directly above the loading dock, or at the very end of the hall by the service door. We would never admit this is deliberate. It is, of course, completely deliberate. It is the only justice a front desk agent is ever allowed to hand out, and it is delivered with a warm smile and the words, "I've put you in a lovely room, sir." So the next time you are tempted to be difficult at check-in, remember that the person you are being difficult with is the very same person choosing exactly where you will spend the night. 3. We always know when your anniversary is fake. We know because we hear it constantly. On any given week, a startling percentage of our guests are, apparently, celebrating a honeymoon, an anniversary, a birthday, or some milestone so significant that it surely warrants a complimentary upgrade, a free bottle of champagne, and a late checkout. The math does not work. It is simply not statistically possible for this many people to be on their honeymoon at the same time. We can usually spot the real ones instantly. And they are never the ones announcing it at the desk, while sliding a loyalty card forward. The genuine celebration is quiet and a little shy and mentioned almost as an afterthought. The fake one is a transaction, delivered with steady eye contact and open expectation. Here is our little secret. We often give the small perk anyway, but to the people who didn't demand it, because the guest who quietly mentioned it deserves the gesture, and the one performing for an upgrade has already told us everything we need to know about them. So by all means, tell us it's your anniversary. Just understand that the telling is the test. Those are the harmless secrets, the little judgments we make and never say out loud. But you didn't come here for harmless. You came for the things we are not really supposed to tell you. So let's lower our voice. 4. We know exactly who is in your room and how many of you there are. People assume that once they are past the desk, they vanish, that the hotel's attention ends at the elevator doors. It doesn't. Every single time a keycard opens that door, it is recorded, the time and the simple fact of it. We don't sit and watch it like hawks. We don't need to. But the moment something prompts us to look, a noise complaint, a damaged room, a quiet question about extra guests, the entire pattern is right there, waiting. The booking that said 1 guest, attached to a door that opened and closed a dozen times an hour all night long. The quiet couple whose room was visited by 15 different people before sunrise. We rarely say a word in the moment. We are not the police, and most of it is genuinely none of our business. But understand that no one will ever know is simply not true inside a hotel. The walls don't talk. The lock does, and it quietly remembers every single time you came and went, whether or not anyone was ever watching. 5. That "do not disturb" sign does not mean we don't notice. It means we are being polite about noticing. A sign on the door for a morning is nothing. A sign on the door for a full day is mildly interesting. But a "do not disturb" sign that has not moved in 3 days quietly sets off something in every experienced hotel worker, because we have learned, sometimes the hard way, what prolonged silence behind a door can mean. We have protocols for exactly this. After a certain number of hours, that sign stops being a request we honor and becomes a situation we are obligated to check. Gently, with phone calls and knocks first, but check we will, sign or no sign. Most of the time it is nothing at all, a guest sleeping off a brutal flight, or someone who simply wanted to be left completely alone, which is entirely their right. But here is the truth hiding behind the courtesy. We are not avoiding your door out of pure respect. We are tracking it. A hotel never truly stops paying attention to a room. It only looks like it does. And on the rare, serious occasions, that quiet attention is the entire reason someone gets found in time. 6. Now lean in, because this is the one most guests have no idea about. The system never forgets you. When you check in, we are not looking at a blank slate. We are very often looking at a profile, and that profile can carry notes. Quiet, internal, professional notes, written by the staff of every other property you have ever stayed at within the chain. And let me be honest with you directly for a moment. There is a reasonable chance there is a note about you right now. Most notes are harmless, even kind. Prefers a high floor. Allergic to feathers. Lovely family. Welcome them back. But the other notes exist too. Difficult at checkout. Disputed a valid charge. Aggressive with staff. Do not upgrade. A guest who screams at a front desk agent in one city has a strange way of finding the service oddly cool in the next, and never quite understanding why. It is because your reputation checked in before you did. We greeted it at the door. So the person you choose to be at a hotel desk is not a single bad morning that vanishes the moment you leave. It travels with you, quietly, from city to city. And we have all read it before we ever say hello. You think we spend our days judging you. Mostly, we don't. We are far too tired, and you are not nearly as unique as the note makes you sound. But there is a version of this hotel you have never seen. It only exists after the lobby empties and the lights go down. 7. The night shift sees a completely different hotel than you do. The hotel you know, the bright lobby, the breakfast spread, the cheerful bellhop, clocks out somewhere around 11. What replaces it in the long hours after 2 in the morning is quieter, stranger, and far more honest. The night auditor, alone at the desk under the low lights, sees the version of the building no daytime guest believes exists. The guest who comes down at 3 a.m. fully dressed with nowhere to go just to talk to another living human being. The arguments that only happen when people assume the whole world is asleep. The person who checks in at an hour when checking in raises quiet questions. The small, strange emergencies, the locked out, the lost, the unwell, that the daytime never hears about because the night handled them and moved on. The wedding guest, still in their suit, sitting alone in the lobby at 4 a.m. because they could not bear to go up to the room yet. The family that arrives at an impossible hour after a flight from the other side of the world. Children asleep on their feet. Parents too exhausted to speak. Night shift staff develop a sixth sense the day crew never has to, because at 3 in the morning, in an empty marble lobby, there is no manager to call and no crowd to disappear into. There is just one person at a desk, and whatever happens to walk through the door. They see the real truth of a hotel. They simply go home before you wake up, and they never tell you what the building did while you slept. 8. And sometimes, quietly, we are watching out for you. Not all of our attention is about catching you doing something wrong. A good front desk team notices things, and every so often, what we notice matters far more than a minibar charge ever could. The guest who seems frightened of the person they are checking in with. The young traveler who looks deeply out of place beside a much older companion who answers every question for them. The booking that trips a quiet, practiced alarm in someone who has been trained to recognize it. Hotel staff, far more than people realize, are taught to spot the signs of a person in trouble and to act discreetly, carefully, without ever making the kind of scene that could put someone in greater danger. We will not tell you about these moments, and we are not permitted to. But they happen, in ordinary hotels, more often than any guest would ever guess. And they are the part of this job we never speak about and never forget. Behind the polite smile and the handing over of a room key, there is sometimes a person at that desk quietly deciding whether someone standing in front of them is safe. It is the part of this work we are proudest of, and the part you will never, ever see. 9. The smile is real. The patience is a performance. When you scream at us about a charge, or demand we fix something we did not break, or treat us like we are something slightly less than human, we say, "I completely understand, sir. Let me see what I can do." We say it calmly. We say it warmly. And inside, we are not calm at all. The composure you see is not the absence of a reaction. It is the suppression of one, performed by someone who has been trained and paid to absorb your worst moment without flinching. It is a genuine skill, and it is exhausting, and it carries a cost no guest ever sees. We walk into the back office and we breathe. We trade a single glance with a colleague that says everything our faces were not allowed to. We carry your bad temper home with us and set it down somewhere late in the evening, long after you have forgotten the exchange ever happened. So, when you feel yourself about to unload on the person behind the desk, the one who is smiling and nodding and gently telling you they understand, remember that the smile is the only part you are permitted to see, and that there is an entire human being quietly holding it in place. 10. So here is the last confession, and the most honest one of all. We are not your enemy. After everything you have heard tonight, the judgments, the notes, the rooms by the ice machine, the quiet watching, you might walk away thinking the front desk is something to be wary of. It isn't. The truth is far simpler and far kinder than that. We are the only people in your life who see you with no audience to perform for. Not your boss, not your friends, not your family. Just you at a desk, with a stranger who can do nothing for you except notice how you treat them. And the overwhelming majority of you are good. You say please. You say thank you. You are patient when the system is slow and gracious when the room isn't perfect. Those guests, and there are so very many of them, are the entire reason this job is worth doing. We remember them long after they have gone. We remember the woman who left a thank you note for a housekeeper she never met, and the man who quietly paid for the coffee of the exhausted family behind him in line, and the regular who learns the name of every person on the morning shift. We give them the upgrade they never thought to ask for. We write the kind note that greets them in the next city. Because the secret hiding behind every secret we have told you tonight is this: we are not keeping score in order to punish you. We are keeping score because we are quietly, genuinely rooting for the good ones. We just smile and nod and never say a word. So be the guest we are glad to remember. We will always smile. We will always nod. And we will almost never tell you what we really see from the other side of that desk. But now, you know the truth the front desk keeps to itself, that there is a face we show the guests and a truth we keep for everyone else. And which one you meet depends almost entirely on who you decide to be the moment you walk through the door. So tell me, honestly in the comments, if you have ever worked a front desk, a night shift, or a hotel floor, what is the one thing guests have no idea you know? And if you have only ever been the guest, are you sitting there right now, quietly wondering what your note says? Subscribe, and the next time you check in, the next time someone slides a key card across the counter with a polite little smile, you will know exactly what is happening on the other side of it.